Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on what is a beautiful Friday afternoon in Nashville. We have turned into the traveling road show. We are at Pancoast Benefits at 4219 Hillsborough Road. This is their 40th anniversary, which is really pretty amazing. And I say that because I knew Coach Pancoast when he was Vanderbilt's football coach. I was a student there. Brent Watkins joins us to talk a little bit about 40 years and how proud he would be of this moment.
Thank you, George. We're thrilled to be celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. And what better time to throw a party in the hottest days of August, right in the middle of two-a-days. So you think Coach would be smiling down on this one, and he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. So, but we're really grateful to Nashville, Middle Tennessee, really the whole state of Tennessee that's been so good to us for all these decades. It's been a true pleasure to bring many of them together here, our clients, friends of the program, you guys. So we're excited about a big day here for Pancoast Benefits.
And it's amazing what free food will do to bring people out. But kind of tell people a little bit of when we run the commercial of Pancoast Benefits, kind of tell people what you all specialize in.
Thank you. So we specialize in group health insurance, employee benefits. So we are, as we like to say, the employee benefits specialist. We do consulting and administration. But we also have an individual division where we work with Medicare, those kind of approaching your age, George.
Thanks a bunch. Wow.
And Medicare,
no wonder we stuck you in the sun field.
Medicare and individual as well, but our primary focus is group health insurance, employee benefits.
So when Fred left Vanderbilt, I know he went down to Lawrenceburg for a while. What was the motivation to start this for him?
So when he left Vanderbilt, he'd always had a passion for leading people, and he was, I believe the title was VP of Human Resources at Murray of Ohio, making bicycles and lawnmowers for those new to our area, but most of us been around, they understand what they did. So for, I believe, 6 years, he was a head of human resources, and he had 4 daughters and a wife, and they all loved Lawrenceburg, but they wanted to get back to the bigger city of Nashville. So he came to Nashville and started an HR consulting company, and pretty quickly that evolved into employee benefits brokerage and consulting firm. So that was in 1985. I moved here in 96, which was about my introduction to sports talk radio. Listen to George Plaster back in the day.
Flattery will get you everywhere. Keep going.
Well, and you know, we're just so excited about this partnership. I've known Billy since he was a kid, literally since before he was in kindergarten. And I have been tuning into your show for about 29 years, George, and this partnership means a lot to us. We're also excited about the Clark Lee segment. Fred Pancoast was a Vandy loyal fan until he died when he was 90 years old. I mean, he literally would cut the page out of the Tennessean that said what times the local games were on.
He was into it.
And then once we got SEC Network and those types of things, Fred, it made it a little more confusing. So literally I spent about 30 minutes every Saturday on the phone. How am I going to get this SEC Network? 718. How do I turn it to 718? And believe it or not, his wife still does the same thing. I get a call every Saturday morning. I love it. Cherish it to have that conversation to help him find the station that Vanderbilt's playing on.
Did you ever trick him and send him to an Ole Miss game?
Oh, yeah. Well, he jumped on the bandwagon a little bit at least. So he half the time just liked to watch him so he could criticize him to me. But, yeah, he for a while there, David Lee, if you remember, he was on the staff briefly. Yeah. So he kind of, he's really close with David Lee and some of those guys. So, but we had a lot of fun with that over the years.
So you've listened to this for 29 years. There is therapy available. And I would think through one of these Medicare programs, you can get a discount on the therapy. Brent, first of all, we're thrilled to be out here. Very appreciative of your sponsorship of our show. And, man, this is awesome.
Thank you. We really appreciate you being here. It is, like I said, it's really hot. I grew up in South Mississippi, so
you know exactly what this is.
I was telling Billy we debated whether to get a tent, and my wife and some of the other ladies said, "You're getting a tent, or we won't be down there." So
your wife's a smart lady. Hey, thanks for coming on here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Brent Watkins from Pancoast Benefits joining us. So most of you can tell we're passing microphones around there. Very professional. We're going to have some fun today. We've got a good show for you. We're 1 week away from the start of high school football. George Robinson will join us. You got to kind of give me, is Terry...
Terry is not with us yet.
Terry is not with us.
He'll be in here shortly.
That's a tragedy.
We could get to you get to my update first.
Have you made contact with Terry?
I have. I told him to hop in here in a few minutes.
Good. Then do your update.
Yeah,
earn your keep.
I will. It is brought to you by Football Night in Nashville. Begins September the 4th. Cowboys and Eagles. Not far from us right now. We're starting to be in Green Hills a lot.
We have been here a lot in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, between Levy's and Sports and Social out here at Pancoast now. But Sports and Social, Green Hills, what is it, a stone's throw from here. Join us September the 4th. Eagles and Cowboys, first Thursday night game. We'll be there 3 to 5. Stick around for the game a little bit later afterwards as well. Well, I've taken the picture out of
don't ever take that picture out. We had a big crowd.
We got to take new pictures
for the opening one. And as Billy mentioned, September the 4th will be the NFL opener, and it will be our opener as well, involving Dallas and Philly.
Yeah, so that'll be big. We've also got some news out of the college football world. Not sure if any of you saw today. I'm sure you did if you are a sports fan. The penalties have finally been waged, per se, on Michigan and Connor Stallions. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be
for
the Wolverines. The full punishments, 4 years of probation. So that's obviously not ideal. But
yeah, but what does it mean?
Well, financial penalties, $50,000 fine, plus a 10% of the budget for the football program. A fine equivalent to the anticipated loss of all postseason competition revenue sharing associated with the 25 and 26 football seasons. A fine equivalent to the cost of 10% of the scholarships awarded in Michigan's football program. Also, 25% reduction in football official visits for Michigan during this next season. A 14-week prohibition on recruiting communications in the football program. So initially, not all that bad. I mean, sounds a lot like some of your normal, recruiting, probation type things.
So what do they find Harbaugh guilty?
Yes, 10-year show cause order restricting him from all athletic related activities during the show cause period, which will begin on August 7th, 2028. At the conclusion of his 4-year show cause order from a previous case. But the thing for Harbaugh, he knew he wasn't going to be back in college coaching anyway.
That's why he took the Charger job.
Exactly. Connor Stallions, 8-year show cause order, restricting him from all athletically related activities during the show cause period. But again, I think he knew he was never going to be back at Michigan.
Yeah.
Denard Robinson, a 3-year show cause order restricting him from all athletically related activities as well. And Sharon Moore.
Denard Robinson was the former quarterback, didn't he? Wasn't he the one that wore number 98?
That was Devin Gardner.
Okay.
That was actually Devin. Yeah, it was good. I think Robinson was 16. Sharon Moore, 2-year show cause order during which he is suspended from a total of 3 games. So,
wow.
But all in all, I don't think that's the worst possible scenario for Michigan. And as I say that,
they could have come out of this worse.
Yeah, we do have Terry, so we'll get back to the regularly scheduled update
already in progress.
Yes.
So Terry McCormick does, and you can tell we're a little, we're
mumbo jumbo.
Well, we're just going to do whatever. Terry does our daily Titans update. He is TitanInsider.com. He works, of course, for Main Street Media. So, Terry, I think I'm right that you put it out there yesterday. Cam Ward, 2 series tonight against the Falcons.
Yeah, that's what Brian Callahan told us on Wednesday before the second of the two practices. He said it would be similar to what took place against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, obviously, that could go up or down a little bit. If he leads a nice touchdown drive on the first series, maybe they go one. If there are a couple of 3 and outs and they feel like he needs more work to be effective, they can put him back out there for a third series. But I think 2 series is kind of the plan right now.
So I'm sure he talked about this. What other things do they want to achieve? And let me throw one out there. I've heard very little in the last week and a half about Gunnar Helm. Is it an attempt to get him more involved tonight?
Maybe. Gunnar Helm hasn't really flashed very much on the practice field. The tight end that's been getting the most use and the most work and the most production has been Chig Okonkwo, who's kind of a known commodity at this point. Gunnar Helm was looking pretty good early on in camp, but the day that I watched the offense, he was persona non grata, just not really anywhere to be found in terms of what they were doing in the pass game.
Interesting. So what things do they want to achieve tonight?
Well, I think they need to start seeing some people step up. They've talked about this whole thing of, how this thing is, not been great at times. It's been a struggle to try to get things done and get on the same page. I think the execution tonight needs to be good, and I think they need to see some people step up and make some plays. Let's see somebody get an interception. Let's see somebody sack the quarterback on defense. Let's see, somebody rip off a long run on the offense, or let's see somebody other than Calvin Ridley make a play in the pass game with the ball, on the football. There's a lot of things that they need to happen, and a lot of those things haven't happened on a consistent basis so far in this camp.
What's the Falcon quarterback plan tonight?
Not sure. I think that Kirk Cousins won't play. Penix may get a series or 2, but probably going to be the Easton Stick show for a big part of it, I would think.
Easton Stick.
Easton Stick.
North
Dakota State. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just see how it plays out, Terry.
All right. Sounds good, George.
Terry McCormick, his daily Titans update here on 94.9. You'll hear him again Monday at 3:00 as we sort of break down what happens this evening. Billy, what else you got in the update?
Well, I want to get to this other NFL note. Obviously, preseason games rolling on again tonight and this weekend. The Commanders' offense hasn't looked sharp for most of this summer, but offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury has a pretty good idea why. He thinks too many players are missing, including Terry McLaurin. With the season beginning in a few weeks, his point is we need Terry out there. Obviously, there hasn't been a ton of contact with him. He's been here, but he's been working with trainers. So until he gets back on the grass, that's when we'll start building that back up. He's, of course, seeking a contract extension. He's one of 4 of their key players on offense who have missed substantial time this summer. We think about all the success Daniels had last year. He had some pretty good weapons, too. And they need, it's not like give Daniels all the credit, but they absolutely need Terry McLaurin out there. Not that Daniels can't still produce, but not to the level they did last year. And they've got a lot of other weapons injured right now.
Without knowing what he's asking for, that kind of stuff, you just got to kind of see where this plays out. They've got to have him.
Yeah.
And I think they know that.
I want to go back to the college level. We just had Brent Watkins on. He's a huge Ole Miss fan. He'll like hearing this. Ole Miss defensive coordinator Pete Golding, on the heels of a record-setting season by the Rebels on defense, has signed a new 3-year contract extension that places him among the top 4 highest-paid defensive coordinators in college football. The new deal averages $2.6 million annually. The only 3 defensive coordinators nationally with a higher annual average salary: Penn State's Jim Knowles at $3 million, Auburn's DJ Durkin at $2.7, and USC's DeAnton Lynn at $2.6. So the Rebels are locking in Pete Golding. A playoff bid would help, obviously, the Rebels, but he's done a great job down there.
Oh, I mean, they're light years better than they used to be. on that end of the football. For all the talk about the flashy offense, it has been defense that's kind of gotten them, to a much more respectable level.
Well, that's what Kiffin has talked about after that, that loss to, I think it was Georgia. Of course, Ole Miss last year got destroyed by Georgia. But one of those losses a couple of years back, before Kiffin really went all in on the portal, he said, we've got to get bigger. We've got to start to look like the Georgias and the Alabamas on the defensive line. And they go out in the portal, they get Walter Nolan and all kinds of different, Prince Miamami Ellen from Florida. And he knew he had to do that. And they've paid up big time. And Pete Golding obviously is a big part of that. He was at Alabama. I think when Kiffin was at Alabama on the offensive staff as well. So you've got that as well at the college level. We've got a little bit of an update on Jordan Love as we go back to the NFL. After dealing with injuries for a lot of last season, Jordan Love did not want to go into this year with any nagging ailments. That's why he decided to undergo surgery on his left thumb this week after sustaining a ligament injury in their preseason opener. He said the surgery was to repair his ulnar collateral ligament, and that all signs point to him coming back week one and being fine. But again, all these nagging injuries, I don't know if nagging is the right word, but these small injuries keep popping up for these quarterbacks, and you can shrug them off. Yeah. But some of these guys are older.
Well, I'll tell you,
Stafford's not 100% right now.
The Rams are absolutely sweating bullets. Stafford is going to work out tomorrow, and this will be the first time. So, you're sitting here a couple of weeks before the season starts, and the Rams have absolutely no clue what they're getting out of Matthew Stafford. Okay, done?
That's what I got.
Okay, after the break, we are a week away from the start of the high school football season. Hard to believe, a lot of scrimmages going on, a lot of preparations for August 22nd. After the break, George Robinson from Tennessean will join us. If you care about high school football at all, you'll want to hear this on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Back into the show. As we promised you earlier, it's high school football season. We are exactly 1 week away from the start of the regular season, which will bring us to a lot of our Football Friday coverage. And joining us, and he's certainly no stranger to this concept, is George Robinson from the Tennessean. George, thanks again for taking the time to put up with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for taking the time to put up with me.
We'll work on that later. What's maybe a storyline going into the season that's really important for you?
I think there's going to be a lot of really great storylines. I think number one, obviously, is and you know, anybody who subscribes to the Tennessean and has kind of been reading our preseason high school football coverage that we're doing. We've put a lot of emphasis on our kind of going into the season, our Dandy Dozen team, and obviously number one ranked player in our Dandy Dozen this year is Jared Curtis out at Nashville Christian, the quarterback out of Nashville Christian. I think he's the number 2 ranked quarterback in the country right now. As you know, those high school or those college football recruiting sites, they change the rankings on these kids pretty constantly. So right now he's number 2. He was number 1 for much of the summer. So we're definitely looking at him. I think there's going to be a lot of great high school football teams in the Nashville area. Again, BGA, your school, George Plaster, made a state championship run last year. I think they're going to be good again this year. They lose a couple of key pieces, but they still have their starting quarterback and Caden Marable back. In terms of Metro Nashville, you got some teams that have kind of moved classifications, like East Nashville. They didn't make the state championship game in 3A last year, but they had made it the previous 2 years. They moved down to 2A. Pearl Cone stayed at 4A. They won the 4A state title a couple of years ago. One of the biggest things I think, in the going into this high school football season is 4A now houses Alcoa. Anybody who follows high school football in the state of Tennessee knows who Alcoa is. They won 10 straight state championship games in Class 3A. So they moved up to 4A. So, Pearl Cone, if they want to get back to that state title game, they're probably going to have to go up against Alcoa. Alcoa is good enough to play against anybody in any team in any classification in this state. So that's going to be a interesting kind of tidbit. There's no George McIntyre this year at Brentwood Academy. It's going to be interesting to see how Brentwood Academy kind of positions itself in District 2, Division 2, AAA without McIntyre. So there's a lot of really interesting kind of storylines, that we're kind of watching this year in the Nashville area.
You brought up Jared Curtis. I've seen him in person.
Yeah,
man, he looks like the real deal.
Yeah, he's a Georgia commit. He originally committed to Georgia, then decommitted and kind of wanted to see what was out there. I think maybe Oregon enticed him a little bit, but eventually he landed back with Georgia. Listen, he's got a cannon for an arm. He's every bit the kind of quarterback that I think Georgia likes, that Kirby Smart likes. He's intelligent, little bit of a gunslinger mentality, meaning that, he'll occasionally take some risks, But that's part of the learning curve. That's part of the learning process. But more often than not, particularly at the high school level, he's going to succeed because his arm talent is just, it's so good. He's physically durable. He runs a lot. He's going to get a lot of yards, rushing the ball. Doesn't get hurt a lot, fingers crossed, knock on wood. He'll have a healthy season. And, he'll be an early enrollee when December, January hits and the college football players, kind of get back on their feet going into next spring. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he plays. And I failed to mention CPA. They've been to the past 7 or 8 state championships in Division II AA. They move up to Division II AAA. They didn't want to move up to Division II AAA, but the TSSAA said that they had to move up. So that's a huge. I think that's a big difference going into this season among the Division II schools. The CPA moving up from D2 AA to D2 AAA.
You'll love this question. So if you took all of the high schools in Tennessee and you made no effort, to separate them by way of classifications, number one, how many of the top 10 are private schools? And secondly, and this is very self-serving, is BGA in that group? You like that?
Yeah, nice one there. BGA must love you. I know you're an alum. They really, really must love you. Yeah. So what we do every year among the Tennessee high school writers that are connected with Gannett is we have a statewide poll. We also have a Super 25 poll. That Super 25 poll is basically the 25 best high school football teams that we rank every week during the football season, regardless of classification. So we already are kind of dipping our toe in that water, trying to make sure that we not only are we ranking our top 10 by classification, but that Super 25 poll is regardless of classification. Who are the 25 best? If you're thinking in terms of that, how many of them are D2 AAA schools? I'd say over the past 5 or 6 years, quite a number of those D2 AAA schools have been among the top 5, 6, 7 teams in our Super 25 poll each week. And I'm talking, if you include Lipscomb Academy in that, they won back-to-back state titles. In 21 and 22, I think, CPA is usually up there when they were in D2 AA. Now they're up in AAA. I'm sure they'll be among the top 10 schools in our Super 25 poll. Obviously, you look at Baylor, McCallie, they've played in this state championship game in D2 AAA the past two straight years. And McCallie winning both of them. So, those two schools in Chattanooga are perennial powers. Some of your best high school football programs in the state are coming out of that D2, Division II, and a lot of them are coming out of Division II AAA. Obviously, when you look at 6A, those big programs where there's 20, 2,000 students, 2,100 students, 2,500 students, they're going to sort of be in the mix as well. I mean, you look at Oakland in 6A, you look at Ravenwood in 6A. Ravenwood made the state semifinals. They got 42 seniors coming back. I don't ever remember a time, and I've been covering high school football for almost 30 years. I'm not that old. I don't ever remember a time where I ever saw a high school football team return 42 seniors. But that's what Ravenwood has. And they got a brand new coach in Ricky Rodriguez, who was an assistant coach under Will Hester last year. So that's a really interesting, then you got Houston out in Memphis, that's been to the past 2 state championship games in 6A. So I would say that D2 AAA particularly, and then 6A football is you're talking about the best of the best with those 2 classifications.
George, awesome to have you back. I want to keep it right there in Division II AAA. Obviously, Innsworth got back rolling last year after, I say down years. They weren't as good maybe as they have been, but obviously with Hasselbeck brothers and a lot of NFL pedigree on that staff, they're going to be really good again this year. Father Ryan, led by Zach Mettenberger, former Titans quarterback, obviously is going to be fun to watch. It'd be interesting to see what they are this year, but down the road, looking forward to that. NBA with a new head coach after the retirement of Marty Uverard. They bring in Chris Chauvin, a well-respected guy. How do you look at Division II AAA, both the East and that West region as well coming into this season?
Yeah. Again, I think that the 2 best teams are Baylor and McCallie again this year. I would put Baylor number 1, McCallie number 2. McCallie lost the Notre Dame commit. I think it's Chasden Smith. He ended up transferring to Knoxville Catholic, which is in D2 AAA, by the way. So I think McCallie's probably lost a little bit more. Baylor has more coming back, including the Louisville commit in Briggs Cherry at quarterback. So I would put them number 2, probably McCallie or I would put Baylor number 1, McCallie number 2. I think Brentwood Academy is in the mix there. And I think Innsworth and NBA are probably right behind them. I'd still like to see, obviously Innsworth has a lot of talent. They got Taylor Hasselbeck at quarterback, Justin Hopkins, who's on our Dandy Dozen. I think he's number 8 on our Dandy Dozen list this year. The cornerback for Innsworth, he returns. He's a Minnesota commit. So I think there's going to be a lot of talent in that particular region. But when you look at a school like Father Ryan, Coach Mettenberger, you're talking about a guy who has a ton of college football experience, a ton of NFL experience, understands offenses about as good as anybody in Middle Tennessee. I know this is his first year, but he's been an assistant there at Father Ryan for a while. So I don't think Father Ryan's going to miss much of a beat there. And then you talk about NBA. They got Hugh Price coming back at quarterback. He missed most of the season last year with that shoulder injury. I think he ended up coming in maybe the back half of the season. Probably played about 4 games of the regular season last year. But that's a Southern Miss commit. He's 6'5" and about as tall as George McIntyre was. So he comes back for NBA this year, and they're going to be really good. I could see like an NBA Innsworth, Brentwood Academy kind of battling for that number 3 spot in that region. So it's going to be really interesting as that kind of plays out over the fall.
You mentioned Baylor and McCallie. Obviously, the last several years they've been at the top. A player at Baylor by the name of running back David Gabriel Georges has really impressed. He had an unbelievable run, I think, in their scrimmage against Maryville, where he broke, I don't even know how many tackles. And he's
everybody. He broke the entire Maryville team. That was insane. That was insane. That's one of those videos that goes viral pretty quickly. I mean, that kid is just, he's a monster. I mean, I think he probably has the inside track right now for the Tennessee Titans Mr. Football Award in that classification. He just is. It's incredible to watch him play, and I think that's why you look at him and like I said, Briggs Cherry and the guys that Baylor has coming back. I think that's why they're number 1. They're probably the number 1 ranked team right now. Probably the best team in the state right now.
We know about Oakland, obviously, in Murfreesboro, elite every single year, and they added another piece to their team. And Joel Wyatt, the athlete, one of the best players in the state, who actually just committed to Tennessee. I think he was down to Vandy and Tennessee, chose the Volunteers, but he left for Oakland from Webb Bell-Buckle, in a school that no longer has a football program. What do you know about that story, George? And obviously unfortunate for that program. Good for Joel Wyatt that he's able to play this year, because if he would have stayed at Bell-Buckle, who knows if they still have a season. Obviously, you never want to have to walk that line of playing 22, even 23 guys. I think they were at 21 and called it. What do you know about that story, but also Joel Wyatt and his potential?
Well, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. You don't want to go into a season where your roster's that thin. I mean, that begins to put a lot of kids in somewhat of a compromising position. In terms of a lot of those kids would have to play both ways, and there's going to be they're going to be limited in the amount of players that they can, substitute. So not only would those kids be playing both ways, but they would really have to play the entire game both ways. That's probably, in this day and age in football, is probably a little bit too much of an ask for high school kids. I think we're smarter now with science, and we understand injuries, we understand head trauma and the consequences of all of those things. These aren't this is not the 1940s and 50s and 60s where guys, played with, basically no face masks and, the leather helmets, even going back into the 20s. I mean, nobody's doing that anymore, and they shouldn't. These guys are bigger. These kids are stronger. They're faster. It just doesn't make sense to put a team in any kind of with any kind of undue risk to have that kind of throw them out there with that thin of a roster. And I think Webb made the best decision for that program. Right now, we don't know what the situation will be with that program, whether or not they're going to be able to field a team in 2026 or beyond. I think Webb is probably going to, they'll probably take this year off and try to see if they can build the program back up. Right now, they don't have a coach, so that's going to fall on the administration, the athletic director, to kind of put the proper pieces in place to be able to make a hire and then go about building a team from scratch, because that's essentially what you're going to have to do. As far as Joel Wyatt, he did what a lot of the Webb players did once it became apparent that there wasn't going to be a season. They were able to transfer, and Joel Wyatt's going to Oakland. Joel Wyatt's the number 2 ranked player on our Dandy Dozen list. He's right behind Jared Curtis, Tennessee commit, and he's going to a school that's been to 4 or 5 straight 6A championship games, and won it last year again. So he makes Oakland better. He probably makes Oakland the favorite in 6A again. I guess the rich get richer in that sense. Although Kevin Creasy wouldn't like me saying the rich get rich, but he knows he's sitting on gold mine there in Oakland. I mean, he's done a fantastic job at that program, and they continue to roll along, and then they get Joel Wyatt. I mean, Merry Christmas, Christmas in July, man.
And Happy New Year as well.
Yeah, right.
George, can't wait till next Friday. Hard to believe it's here. Thank you as always for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. I look forward to talking with you guys each and every week this fall.
George Robinson has great high school football coverage each week in the Tennessean. Take a look at him. Take a look at his info, because it's really good stuff. Stay tuned. We've got more coming on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Okay, we are back, and you may be wondering what's going on here. We're at Pancoast Benefits at 4219 Hillsborough Road. This is their 40th anniversary, and they asked us to broadcast from here. And a beautiful occasion. A lot of folks here under this tent, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and Brent talked about the Clark Lee interview. And it really does work out perfectly. You look back at Fred coaching at Vanderbilt. I think he'd be proud right now about what's going on with his company, and it's really cool to get to interview Clark every week. But not only that, have it presented by Pancoast Benefits. So I wanted to throw that out there as well. And Brent's been great with that.
So Billy, high school football begins regular season a week from today, and I guess obviously there's some local stuff that is of interest to me. The Tennessean put out a list of the top 8 schools in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area. So Murfreesboro is covered by this. What did you think of it when you saw it?
I was surprised to see Lipscomb Academy at number 4. We haven't heard great things about what's going on at Lipscomb Academy. I mean, I've heard that they've got around 30 guys on the team, if that. And we talked about Webb Bell Buckle terminating their program, unfortunately. But more and more that's happening with schools now, and I think I'm not saying it's on the verge of happening at Lipscomb Academy, but they're not as talented and as deep as they have been. I'm not saying they're going to be an atrocity this year, but I was surprised to see them so high after some of the things I've heard about roster-wise, the numbers, the sheer numbers they've got. And obviously, under Trent Dilfer, they were rocking and rolling. But we were there a couple of years back with Kevin Mawai, and he got placed. They threw the ban on him that season, and obviously that was detrimental to their program. So that stands out to me first. Obviously, Oakland at 1 is no surprise. CPA at 2.
Okay, hold on a second. when you look at Oakland, I mean, this word gets tossed out a lot, and so it cheapens it. But Oakland's turned into a dynasty under Kevin Creasy.
Absolutely. 6 straight state titles. They get Joel Wyatt, as George mentioned, to add to their talent. And, you almost forget about, because we're not in Rutherford County, we're not in Murfreesboro, but every year we start talking about high school football, and every week in the season, Oakland is mentioned and who they got this week. And, they won another state title. So, I mean, you can't say enough about what Coach Kevin Creasy has done. And then CPA. George mentioned how they're moving up. They're moving up to Division II AAA.
They really didn't have any choice in the matter.
Well, yeah, and I think it took a little too long for that to happen. Nothing against what CPA has done at their level, but they were playing a different game. Now BGA last year, we were at that game. They gave CPA all they wanted in that game. Of course, let it slip away a little bit in the fourth quarter. BGA is right there with CPA. I think now, in terms of talent, they very well could have won that game last year. And then did they meet again in the playoffs?
They did. They met in the finals, and CPA won in Cookeville. The thing that has shocked me, the first time I saw this poll and BGA was in it. Look, I know firsthand what a brilliant football coach Bobby Bentley is. But if you saw their program 2 years ago and how bad it was, because it was basically, it looked like a weight room fall apart. They just got bullied by people like CPA. And for BGA 2 years later to be in a position where somebody puts them there. Now, let me say this. It's BGA FRA until you hear anything else in that division. That's just the way it looks like it's going to be.
Yeah, and obviously, Coach, I'm forgetting his name, FRA.
Justin Geisinger.
That's it. Geisinger's done a phenomenal job. Those are two coaches that have those programs rolling. I'm interested to see what Innsworth does in year 2 under the Hasselbecks. You've got both Matt and Tim there, and you've got Tim's son, Taylor, as the starting quarterback, and he's actually headed to Minnesota after this season as a commit there. So last year they were good, but I think this year they can take another step forward. I saw them a couple times last year, and they've got some freaks out there. And obviously Taylor as the signal caller. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Ravenwood, obviously you remember Bernard Pollard. His son, Jalen Pollard, is a safety at Ravenwood.
Well, what was
right
the
now.
number that George Robinson mentioned? They bring back like 40 players from a year ago.
Yeah, Ravenwood is going to be really good this year. Femi Babalola is their starting quarterback. He's headed to Boston College.
Say that again.
Femi Babalola.
That sounds a little bit Greek.
Maybe a little bit, actually. I just realized that.
Might not be.
But so much talent. I mean, this is just the top 8 we're looking at right now. If you're watching the podcast, there's a lot of other teams to keep an eye on. I think NBA could be better this year under Chris Chauvin, who was their longtime defensive coordinator under Marty Uverard. He is now the head coach there. They also have Brian Sneed, former Pope Prep head coach, on staff there at NBA. They've hired some really good coaches. So just a few teams to keep an eye on. But yeah, all gets kicked off next week.
So did I see where Innsworth will have a national TV game in a couple of weeks?
I didn't see that. Are they?
I believe August the 29th, which, look, good for Tim Hasselbeck. You know, if he used that connection to get them something like that, then you know what? More power to it.
I think you're right about that, because I looked at their schedule, August 29th at Nashville Christian, Jared Curtis.
Oh, wow.
Georgia commit. So that would be understandable.
Yeah.
You know, all kinds of talent. Obviously, Innsbruck probably has more overall talent than Nashville Christian, but you know, that's a game you'd like to showcase, and that's a game I'd love to go to now that I think of it. That should be pretty fun.
So a week from now, we will sort of put our Football Friday stuff together again, and we've had great assistance on that. The Metro Nashville Police Department, Star Physical Therapy. Who am I missing? Josh Houston and Associates.
Yep.
So we've gotten a lot of help, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. We'll start out next Friday with a coach interview. Then George Robinson from the Tennessean will join us. Holly Taylor from Star Physical Therapy with the health update. So we'll be ready to roll.
Back at it. It's going to be fun, and more, this gets more fun covering high school football and talking about the game because there's so much talent in the area. I mean, you can go back just 5, 6, 7 years ago. There wasn't this much talent in the state of Tennessee. George talks about it. Robinson does every week, and that's what makes it so fun. There's a lot more players that are headed to the Power 5 level now that we get to talk about, and coaches. The coaches are ridiculously impressive. And we mentioned the Hasselbecks, so it's going to be fun.
Billy, I think the other thing, and I think it's a little bit underrated, but when the Titans first came to town, I heard a lot of stuff about how this would ruin high school football coverage. And I beg to differ. I look around at the various outlets, and I don't know if it's a guilt trip or what it is, but there's way more high school football coverage than when I was coming up. It's not even close.
Well, and with today's day and age of social media, you go to a game, get video of a touchdown or some highlights, and you never know what video goes viral. In that interview with George, I mentioned David Gabriel Georges, the Baylor running back, and I don't know if you've seen that yet, but he had to have broken at least 10 tackles. I'm not even kidding. It's a normal handoff up the middle. He runs to the left, breaks a couple, and you're like, oh, he's going to go down. He kind of disappears in the video, and he pops back out, breaks several more tackles, and runs it to the end zone. That and then later that's on Twitter and that's viral. So it's that style of coverage that these high school players have the privilege of playing in, and that's how media has changed it. I think it's helped the high school game a lot too.
Well, I'll kind of throw it out there to people. A week from tonight, all of this starts in the regular season. If in your area there's a high school football game, go out and support those young kids because they are the college stars of the future. And high school football has become really big here and a lot of fun. And think you'll enjoy it. So after the break, when we come back, we'll do Stat of the Day. And then my buddy Chris Lowe from ESPN will join us. We'll get his reaction to the Michigan penalties that got announced earlier this morning. And we got plenty more to get into with him in the second hour of the show. From Pancoast Benefits, this is 94.9 The Fan. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
We're talking to Chris Lowe, senior writer from ESPN.com, coming up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. Speaking of Chris Lowe, one of the college football gurus, we're going with a college football question today. Arch Manning has high expectations at Texas, but which quarterback has the most single-season passing yards in Longhorn history?
Okay. Colt McCoy would be one of them you would consider. Who is the smaller kid that was tough as nails after him?
Sam Ehlinger.
Sam Ehlinger, I think, is the answer because they had to throw a bunch because they weren't all that good. It's obviously going to be somebody.
But he ran it a lot, if you remember.
Yeah, but I'm going with him.
Oh, you're going with Ehlinger?
I'm going with Ehlinger.
You, George, are incorrect.
Colt.
It is Colt McCoy.
So, if you remember, Colt McCoy got hurt in the title game against Alabama.
Vividly.
And what was the kid's name? Gilbert.
Garrett Gilbert.
Garrett Gilbert had to step in. I felt bad because I don't know if Texas would have won the game, but they'd have made it a lot more interesting.
Yeah. No, I remember watching that, and I was able to stay up for it. My parents let me stay up and watch that game. And as soon as McCoy got hurt, it took a lot out of that game. And it was that first possession? McCoy got
it was
drilled.
Really early.
And that took a lot. You know, the Texas lore was a lot of it was Colt McCoy and how much they threw the ball around. Is Jordan Shipley on that Texas team as well? If I'm not
you're
mistaken.
Right. Of course,
and
that was 5 years after Vince Young won the national title.
And so McCoy goes down in that game. You're like, dang. Of course, Alabama ends up winning, led by Mark Ingram. So
it's, Texas has really not been in this position in a while where everybody's got them number one. I think it's way too early to kind of crown them. And I also think it's way too early, the Arch Manning, Heisman stuff. We don't know enough about him yet. I think he's going to be really good, and I think all of us will be shocked if he's not. But good gosh, he hadn't played nearly enough for us to be spouting off the way we are about him.
Well, just like Tony Barnhart says, family business. He's
got the genes all right.
I mean, but that's a lot of pressure for that kid. And in that interview, I remember Barnhart joking around saying, all he's got to do is go win the Heisman and go win the SEC championship. And, oh, by the way, go to Columbus and beat Ohio State. But there's no pressure on him other than that. I mean, that's a lot for a kid of his age. Now, he's mature. Sarkisian talks about all the time. And people forget he did get – it's not like he didn't take any snaps last year. And I know it was against Monroe and Mississippi State. But, you sit behind Ewers in that offense, he won't be deer in the headlights. Now, can he be better than Quinn Ewers, though? I think that's the question for Texas, because Ewers wasn't really able to take them to the next level.
He will certainly be more mobile.
Yeah. And I think we've got Chris Lowe.
Well, as soon as he's ready to roll, we'll get him in here. As we welcome all of you into the second hour of the show. So this is a terrific reporter. Chris Lowe covers the college football world like virtually nobody. Chris, how you doing?
Great. It's good to be with you guys.
Man, it's good to hear your voice. So right off the bat, give me your reaction to the Michigan penalties today, because for a deal where Harbaugh got hit with a 10-year show cause, felt like the school got off kind of light.
George, I think that's the trend now. I don't think you're going to see schools, you never say never, but I don't think you're going to hit schools with current players and new coaches. Now, obviously, Sharon Moore was involved, and he got a show cause. But I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of postseason bans going forward. Now, you go back a ways, and certainly Louisville in basketball, or probably more specifically Oklahoma State in basketball in 2022 are probably those kids on that team and coaches are probably sitting up straight and saying, wait a minute, what about us? How come you guys hammered us in 2022? But you go back to the Tennessee case in 2023, and now this one, it looks like, guys, that they're going to hit you in the pocketbook. That's where we're going to hit you, and not so much keep teams from playing in the postseason. I get that a little bit, because if you got players on your squad that didn't have anything to do with the violations, I mean, are those really the people you want to punish? Clearly, they're going after the people who are involved in the cheating. Now, granted, Harbaugh's in the NFL now. Stallions is who knows where. Sharon Moore is going to get a suspension. He was there and was a part of those violations. But I guess I'm not surprised, is a long-winded way of saying it, George. I didn't think they would get a postseason ban. I thought it would probably be more some scholarships, some suspensions of coaches, show causes, and a pretty big fine. I think it's fair to say in this day and age with rev share at $20.5 million a year and paying coaches $9, $10, $11, $12 million a year. What is the is a $20 million fine? Does that really hit you? I think it's pretty substantial, but I still think when you look at the money that's being generated now in college sports and the money that coaches and heck, even you got ADs out there making $3 million. What is $20 million?
It's chump change. Seriously, though, is the NCAA out of the postseason ban kind of world?
Sure looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We don't have a crystal ball. We don't see what's coming down the pike as far as some of these violations and maybe some more egregious type cases. But this one was pretty egregious. I mean, you're talking about creating a competitive advantage by stealing signals, from other teams. That's about as bad as it gets. I would say, if you ask me, guys, what's the one thing that still may get a team or get a school and maybe rise to the level of postseason ban, maybe some really major, egregious academic fraud. That might be where you have a school dead to right, where people are taking tests for players, writing papers for players, those kind of thing, and they really get them. Maybe that is what would lead to another postseason ban, but I don't, it's sure letting from precedent now. Maybe this precedent's been set. It doesn't look like it.
Chris, excuse me just a second while we try to straighten out a camera here. Kind of tell me what you think went on at the SEC spring meetings, where some of us thought they would agree to go to 9 games, and instead it feels like behind the scenes there must have been a battle.
Oh, yeah, no, there is. Coaches don't want it. I mean, the large majority of the coaches, George, don't want to go to 9 games in the SEC. Greg Sankey certainly wants to, and he's wanted to, though, for a couple of years. That's not a new deal with him. I think that's the feeling among ADs, maybe a little bit more split, because there's going to be more money involved if you go to a 9th game. ESPN is going to kick in more money. You're going to be able to play more of the games against teams that you don't, the rivalries that have sort of gone away. You get a chance to play more of those. And I think, now maybe I'm in the minority, I think at the end of the day, if you go to 9 games in the SEC, you're going to get credit for it. I know the coaches don't believe that based on what happened last year in the playoff. But if you play 9 games in your league, everybody else but the ACC and SEC does it, and you play a marquee non-conference game, that's 10 really good games. And I think it's easier to sort of weigh all the teams' resumes against each other. It's never going to be apples to apples. Our good friend Roy Kramer used to always tell me, college football is never going to be that type of sport because you play in different conferences, schedules are different, years are different. Even in the SEC, for instance, and you guys know this, the schedule's pretty imbalanced. There's an imbalance across the league, within the league. If you don't think so, Go talk to the Oklahoma folks right now and ask them what they thought of their schedule versus Texas' schedule.
Chris, in your opinion, what is the next expansion shoe that drops that's a biggie?
Well, it's going to be several years now with the settlement that the schools in the ACC reached. But I got to think that the Clemsons and the UNCs, maybe the Florida States of the world are going to be moving on at some point, probably to the SEC. I'll tell you this, though, there's really no appetite in the SEC right this minute to expand. If they do, I think at the head of the list is UNC for a lot of different reasons. You get a different foothold in a different state. You got a school academically that's elite. You get their basketball program. You probably get a pretty good piece of the Charlotte market, TV market. Now, that's not to say that Clemson's not inviting for several reasons. That would probably be the one that stands out the most. But, George, I think in football, we're going to go to a super league. And a lot of coaches agree with me on that, a lot of administrators, where I don't know what the number is. Is it 32? Is it 48? Where schools break off and they have their own playoff, their own governance, a commissioner. I think there'll be collective bargaining where the players will have their own representation and you do your own thing. I think there will be a break. I don't have a timetable. Is that in 3 years? Is it in 5 or 6 years? I don't know. But I just got to think we're headed there in some form or fashion.
In your opinion, is that good for the sport?
No, I think, well, number one, it probably eliminates a lot of the rivalries that we just talked about. And I think rivalries are part of the fabric of college football. I hate to see that. I don't know that, to me, college football, all sports are best when all parts of the country are involved. When, the schools that don't have the $35 million rosters, are still part of the equation. Now, can those schools that aren't, can they realistically win a national title? History says no. I like the fact that you're going to at least get some more teams involved. If we go to 16 teams in the playoff, you're going to see more teams like an SMU, like a Boise State get in. Now, I still think the usual suspects are going to win the title. I really do. It's a little bit like basketball. The magic of the tournament in basketball are the first and second round upsets, but almost always when you get to the end, the cream rises to the top. I don't know that it's good for the sport, but it's sort of where we are with the revenue, with NIL. You've got schools now. Tennessee won't be the first to enter into this, multi-million dollar deal with apparel companies who are going to also get involved in NIL, helping bring players to campus. And you're going to see kids who have deals already with other apparel providers go to a school that has a different apparel provider. So I don't know. I'm a traditionalist. I like to see schools that have played for 60 and 70 and 80 years continue to play every year. I like that. I like the fact that, especially now in the playoff era, that, if you're whoever you are, I'm not even going to throw out names, but with 16 teams, once you get into November, you still got a lot of teams and their fan bases who have hope to get into the playoff. I think if you go to the top 30 to the top 40 of the biggest brands, then you're going to have a preset playoff, much like you do in the NFL. And I think that does take away from a little bit of the drama. All this said, and I want to emphasize this, for all the gnashing of the teeth about the changes in college football and all the stuff off the field, the legalese, the expansion, NIL, transfer portal, I'm 60 this October. I still get as excited on Saturdays to watch the game. When I wake up on Saturday morning, I love to watch all the games. I love to be on campus. I think most fans are like that. Do we get Google-eyed or sort of goggle-eyed over all the stuff happening off the field? Yeah, but all these people say they're going to quit watching. I don't buy it. People still love the product on Saturday afternoon.
I got one last thing, and then I'm going to turn it to Billy. So when the University of Memphis tried the money play a few weeks ago, it looked like the Big 12 just sort of gave it a backhanded, please, don't even come here. Are you surprised that it was that easy for the Big 12 to say no?
Yeah, that conference, yes. That type of cash, George. And Memphis has done a lot. I mean, you go and you're the same way. Go back to Memphis 20 years ago. The facilities, what they were, what they weren't, the brand of the football and certainly basketball that they played. They've come a long ways and done a lot of things that would make you think that they are a team that deserves to be in a Power Four conference and done the things that it takes. I mean, you look at what Silverfield's done the last couple of years with the football program. They've been really competitive. I think they will be again this year. So, yeah, with the money that university has and has generated, I was surprised.
Billy?
Chris, Alabama names Ty Simpson, their starting quarterback. What can we expect from him? A guy that like an Arch Manning type, a younger, unproven guy. After Kalen DeBoer's, issues at times with Milroe last year, what do we expect from Simpson this year?
He's been on campus, Billy, for 4 years, so it's not like he's a stranger to that program. Now it is a newer staff. He's going to have a first-year coordinator and Ryan Grubb. Ty did not play very well in 23 in the preseason in the spring. I know Nick Saban and that staff sort of thought going in that he was probably going to be the guy. He just didn't perform. Didn't play with a lot of confidence. And Milroe had a little bit more support in the locker room, and he won the job. And he kept the job. And he played a lot better as that year went on, Jalen did. Kept the job in 24. I know last year in talking to Kalen, he felt really comfortable with the way Ty played, the way he worked, just how much improvement he made, his confidence level. I think something happened to Milroe, and granted, Milroe was really up and down last year. But at that point, it's sort of hard, unless he gets hurt, in your locker room to go to the bench. But had something happened, I know in talking to that staff, they felt really good about Ty, and I think they still do. He was clearly the best guy this time in preseason. He's got he's got the skill set. He can move around. He's got a good arm. He's been around for a while. I don't think he'll be intimidated. But you mentioned Arch. He's still got to go do it. He's still got to go out there and prove in big situations and big games that he can do it. He's got a lot of really good players around him. Their offensive line will be good. They brought in, I think, solidified the receiving core. So I think he'll have a good year. And here's the other thing with Ty. I don't think they're going to say, Ty, you got to go out and win games for us. They're better around him. He's going to be a guy that certainly when they play the better teams, he's got to be able to convert on third down. They got to be able to convert in the red zone. If they're behind, he's got to be able to lead them from behind. All those things that the quarterbacks do for elite teams. But again, in talking to people there in that program that I trust, they feel good about where he is and where he fits and what they do offensively.
Chris, let's go to Knoxville. Obviously, the Nico situation transpires. A lot of drama, a lot of talk, and now the Boo Carter situation. We'll see if he plays in week 1 against Syracuse. We'll see how much he even gets to play throughout this season. How much does the Boo Carter situation affect Tennessee heading into this season?
A lot of that's up to him because I'll tell you this, his teammates are watching. They had enough this offseason, which is the reason he left for a couple of weeks and sort of is given a mulligan here by Josh Heupel. Listen, coaches by nature, and I don't want to say every coach because it's not fair to paint with a broad brush, but if they got a kid on their team that they think can help them win 1 or 2 more games talent-wise, in Boo's case, can he return a punt that helps them beat an Alabama or beat a Florida? They're always probably going to get a little bit more rope. And I think that's the case here. But you also have to weigh that against what that does to your locker room. And I would say he is probably not on double secret, but triple secret probation. Anything else with him, and I don't think you will see him long-term on that team. So, we'll see. They had issues last year, not only with Nico, with James Pierce. So I think this is a critical year as far as chemistry on that team. You've got a new quarterback to see if Tennessee can take that next step. Because, clearly Heupel has taken that program in the last few years to heights that they haven't been at in 2 decades. He's beaten Florida. He's beaten Alabama multiple times. Go look at Tennessee's record against those 2 teams over the last 20 years. It's abysmal. He got them to the playoff last year. This next step, in my mind, guys, is the hardest one. It's the steepest one. Can they get to the playoff? and make a run? Can they get to the SEC championship game? Can they stack double-digit wins on top of each other? In this league, that is a really, really steep step.
Something else we've talked a lot about is Diego Pavia and his comments. The Netflix documentary comes out, and obviously before the Tennessee game has some comments. What's your take on how far he's gone? Because George has talked about, we've posed the question, has he gone too far with some of his comments? But the other side of it, Chris, Vanderbilt's never had a player like Pavia, not only on the field, but off the field with his confidence and bravado. Has he gone too far with some of the things he said?
Well, let's see if he backs it up on the field. And then what it boils down to? I mean, you'd rather have a quarterback that was confident, maybe on the plus side of confident than the minus side. That team, and you guys know this, you're there in Nashville, they feed off of Diego's confidence and his swagger and the way he plays and the way he's not intimidated. I was there for a day in April and spent the day there with Clark and some of those players. I mean, he brought an air to that program that they haven't had in a while. He was hurt last year towards the end of the season. He wasn't 100%. So he was not able to play at the level he wanted to. Now, when you say things like he said, and let me preface this by saying this, Vanderbilt wasn't going to sneak up on anybody anyway this year. You don't think Alabama's ready to play Vandy? The teams that they beat last year, no way they were going to sleep on Vandy this year. So even if Diego had been quiet and not said a whole lot, I don't know that there was going to be a lot of – I think there was already going to be enough motivation. But yeah, when you say some of the things he said, and here's the other thing, I don't think he really cares what anybody else thinks. Tennessee, Alabama, that's just who he is. He's not going to all of a sudden change. And he goes out and plays the way he is capable of playing. Staying healthy will be critical because he wasn't last year. And he moves around. That's part of his game. He's going to run. He's not going to shy away from contact. And there'll be some people laying in wait to get a good hit on him. I don't know. Well, ask me that question in mid-October, whether he went too far. But I just think you'd rather have your quarterback be on that end of the spectrum as opposed to the other end.
I agree. Last thing, who's Notre Dame's quarterback this year, Chris, or at least who starts against Miami?
I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine. I think Marcus is content with his team, that whoever it is that they have to play to, that they're good enough around him. They should be really good in the offensive line. They got some marquee defensive players coming back. Jeremiah Love might be the best running back in football. So long story short, I don't think that's a real big concern for Marcus right now. I think there's some other things, and whoever it is, that they play well around him. And they should be, I think they'll be right there in the thick of it again. He's, when you start, people say, well, who's the best coach in football? Who would you take right now? Who are the top five? We see those lists all the time. I think when you look at what he's done with that program, how healthy that program is, the way they've sort of jumped right up into the middle of national relevance, he's probably done the last couple of years as good a job as anybody.
He's up there.
Chris, it is great having you on. Good to see you as always. By the way, you want to have a little fun to end this?
Sure, always.
Texas, Ohio State, who wins?
I got Ohio State.
Clemson, LSU.
Clemson, big, by more than a touchdown.
Oh, wow. Catholics versus convicts.
I love that. I got to go Notre Dame, just based on what I said a minute ago.
Yeah. Man, I'm with you. When I wake up on football Saturday in the college world in the South, it doesn't get any better. Now, they can screw up the other 6 days, but they can't screw up Saturday, and I love the way you said that.
No, they can't. And I think those people, my dad's 88, and he said, I'm going to quit watching football. I hate all this NIL. I hate the players jumping around. But you know what? Every Saturday when I talk to him, or Sunday, he's talking about what happened on Saturday. And I'd say he's probably mirrors a lot of people around there, because we all love those of us who are junkies. I know the three of us are, and there are a lot more out there. We can't wait to see the product on the field. And I don't think that's ever going to change.
No, I'm with you. Bring it on, baby. Chris, thank you for doing this.
Thanks, Chris.
Bet, guys. Take care.
Chris Lowe, he is one of the really good reporters covering college football for ESPN. After the break, Pogue will join us. Yes. What is he up to? We'll find out next on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me. The Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today. PancoastBenefits.com or call them at 615-292-3400. Okay, we are back. The celebration continues here at 4219 Hillsborough Road. Pancoast Benefits celebrating their 40th anniversary. Asked us to do the show out here. We're thrilled to do it. So thrilled that we had me in a double box there for a minute. That's very impressive. My buddy Greg Pogue was part of Underdog Picks that will begin next Thursday, kind of a light Week 0 college football. Pogie, I know you've been studying, and we're thrilled to have you back.
Yeah, I've renewed my subscription to the Gold Sheet, so I'm well prepared.
You know, for a while, and by the way, the General, Al Dorsey, will be part of this year's crew. The General, a 5-year in a row dynasty in that competition. And he kept picking all these little schools for a while. And Pogie, one day I put it out on the air that we were going to require that any school that got picked had to have stands on both sides.
Oh, well, I go to a lot of those places that only have one side. So anyway, how you doing, man?
I'm good. So you're on 94.9 tomorrow and wanting to plug it. So let's talk about it.
Well, thought we were going to talk about my Milwaukee Brewers being the best team in baseball, 12 games in a row, but
not as much as you thought.
Yeah, no, actually, it's coming. Just letting everybody know this afternoon that, this is the 14th season of Prep Football Talk, presented by Freeman Webb, Bill, and the late Bill Freeman, everything. Bob now been with us all the time, Bubba Spears and I, and we're going to do that show every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 live at Roy's Meat Service in East Nashville, iconic location. So we'll do Prep Football Talk from 9 to 10, and we'll have like Metro Pearl Cone coach Tony Bernetti on tomorrow. And then also we do a legend of the week, and our first legend of the year will be your Kelly Holcomb, our Kelly Holcomb. So we got that. And then right after that, from 10 to 11 every Saturday morning, it's something I've been doing a long time. Was down at the Omni with it. And now we're out at Roy's 101 with Greg Pogue. You're invited, and I'll do all the asking and you'll do all the answering. And then, but another thing that we've really worked hard on, and just has been announced for the first time since 1977, Nashville Metro schools are going to have their very own high school football game of the week. It was on WENO. Remember WENO?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that was 1977. Chase McCabe, program director there for all the Cromwell sports stations, and Bubba Spears are going to handle the talent on it. And it's something that I've been working on with Mark North, the Metro Schools athletics director, for a couple years now. And then it just, it really fit. We've got people who are supporting us, Strike and Spare, who takes care of all of us, Larry and the family. And so, yeah, and those games are going to be on 102.5. The game. So yeah, 94.9 Saturday mornings, 9 to 11. And then the Metro high school football game of the week. The first one will be McGavock at Maplewood next Friday night with Chase and Bubba doing it. And just really a great way, in my mind, to show support for and the Titans have spent millions. 4 of the games this year will be at the dedications for the turf field. The Titans built turf fields for all of the high school football teams in Metro. So it's just helping with that momentum. And, the big schools, the Oaklands and the privates, the Brentwood Academies, the NBA, Metro schools have a fight, and we're just going to help that fight.
So, Pogie, why are we honoring Kelly?
Well, he's our prep legend of the week.
What does that mean?
Well, that means he had a high school career, noteworthy, and just his experience coaching it as well. From the, it just, why are you asking me these questions?
Well, I think
he's a prep legend. Do I need to give his qualification? Lincoln County High School, whatever,
Billy, are you questioning it at all?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know. Can it be proven what he did at Lincoln County? Do they still have any of those stats?
Absolutely, it can be proven, and I will. If you turn in tomorrow morning, we'll clue you in.
Okay. In fairness, he didn't play in the NFL for being a slappy.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, it's not an NFL show. It's a high school show. We had Watson Brown, prep legend.
Well, thank you. Now let's get to your brew crew.
Something that you will never be. Hey, you're invited to 101. You're never going to be a prep legend. Okay, I'll just leave it at that.
I was a prep legend at BGA, but enough of that. So you went out about 3 weeks ago and saw the brew crew and the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium is now 63 years old. First of all, what kind of condition did you find it in? And I asked that. I've been there about 20 years ago. It's a beautiful stadium. What did it look like to you?
It was fine. I've been in older stadiums, but it has the bells. It was like a grand lake. It's held up. It's my first trip, and it also helped that the Brewers swept the Dodgers all 3 games I was there. That didn't, and I get to see Ohtani hit a home run, but didn't hurt us. Anyway, Yeah, I loved it. It's my first trip there. It was I clipped off two of my last five bucket list things in baseball. Went to Cooperstown earlier this year. You know, the Cats were up at Albany. I went over there a day early, and then I loved it, man. And the easy in, easy out. Now it's crowded, but you know, hell, traffic out there is not any worse than it is in Nashville right now.
Your Brew Crew for years has been a team that will get in, but nobody ever really says Milwaukee's going to win it all. But it feels like they've gone a next level. And Pogue, a lot of that next level is coming straight out of First Horizon Park.
Yeah, Terang, Durbin. Isaac Collins is going to be the rookie of the year, or one of the top three vote getters. Yeah, you in the pitching. Yeah, and it just shows you how well run that team's not going to, you know, their payroll is always going to be in the bottom third. We know that smallest market in the bigs, and what they've done with it is identify and yeah, you look at Perkins, you look at this roster, it's full of sounds. And even the ones right now, you look at a Cameron, what he's doing right now, he could be playing for a lot of baseball teams right now at the big level, and he's still in Nashville. So that's, and it's pitching. And, you know, when you got Peralta, Woodruff, and Mizorowski, you know, who's this year's Paul Skeens, in the bullpen, I scratched my head. Why would you give up on Devin Williams? Well, ask the Yankees. You know, he can't get anybody out. And so I think we got the best bullpen, or one of the top two or three. So yeah, I didn't expect it. I went into this not knowing what to expect. A lot of, you know, things had to come through, and they are. And a lot of it, give it to Christian Yelich. He lets those rookies and those young players have fun, no pressure. And he is the best leader for this kind of team, and they're good. They expect to win every time out.
So let's boil it down to the low gravy. Milwaukee and a healthier Dodgers in October in a best of 7. Do you honestly believe the Brewers win that series?
Well, no. I mean, if you put a gun in my head and made me bet it, I'd probably bet against them, because until you do it, you do it. You know, they were one pitch away from beating the Dodgers and going to the World Series, you know, a couple years ago. They were one pitch away from beating the Mets last year, and Devin Williams served a gopher up to Pete Alonso and blew a 2-run lead. I think they can. Here's why. Pitching. The Brewers pitching, starting, and bullpen far superior to the Dodgers. And you know, they've got the guns now. I know that Mookie Betts has had, if he's coming out of his year-long slump, they'll be a tough to do. But here's another thing: if the way it's going right now, they've got a 5-game lead for the number 1 overall seed. I like the chances if that home series is in Milwaukee. I'd like, you know, I think that they'll be playing at home, and they just don't lose much at home.
What you really need is the Padres to simply win that division and make it very difficult for the Dodgers, that the road to even get there becomes, you know, really difficult.
Right. Are you giving up on I don't hear the Phillies in that. I mean, I would be more afraid of playing the Phillies than the Dodgers.
Screw the Phillies.
George hates the Phillies.
I know but he conveniently left them out of that. He already had the Brewers and the Dodgers in the championship series.
By the way, the commissioner hates the Phillies too.
Yeah, well, I sort of like that, though. That
I did too. Just leave it at that. Okay.
Yes.
Before we go, tell people again what you got going on tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow morning, 9 to 11, Roy's Meat Service. Come on out. I'll buy you a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. 9 to 10, Coach Bubba Spears and I, the 14th year of Prep Football Talk presented by Freeman Webb. And then 101 with Greg Pogue right after that. Jeff Fisher, I didn't mention earlier, will be our first guest of the season. So Jeff will be out there tomorrow morning. People want to come out and say hi, get pictures, whatever. And then a week from tonight, the first time since 1977, the Nashville Metro High School football game of the week. And it'll be Chase McCabe, Coach Bubba Spears on 102.5 The Game.
And what's the game?
It is McGavick at Maplewood.
Beautiful.
Sausage and cheese biscuit. That means George will be there.
No,
come on.
I will not be there. I will not be there. We have a Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame board meeting tomorrow.
Well, poopy too.
Yeah. Okay, Pogue, behave. I did what I told you I would do. You got the plug.
Hey,
have a good weekend.
And listen tomorrow morning, and you'll find out why Kelly Holcomb is a prep legend, okay?
I can't wait to hear that.
That'll be riveting.
All right. See you.
See you. Okay, we're going to go to the break. The celebration continues. As you can tell in the background, a lot of activities going on as Pancoast Benefits celebrates their 40th anniversary today. They asked us to do the show out here at 4219 Hillsborough Road. Happy to do it. We'll have more of the show coming up on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
Hello, I got faces to read. Like me next to you, and you next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me. Hello, I got faces to read.
Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Okay, we are back and kind of coming down the home stretch of a busy Friday afternoon from Pancoast Benefits as they celebrate. You can see in the background we're outside under a tent celebrating their 40th anniversary. And our congratulations to Brent, Watkins, and the entire crew out here at Pancoast Benefits. So we've got a busy night. A little more than an hour from now at Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. And so we're going to do what may be a stupid exercise, but here goes. Most of the check marks, as you can see, are going to go to the Falcons. They clearly have a better passing game. I think one of the biggest worries for me right now with the Titans is it's Calvin Ridley, number one. And then after that, maybe it's Tyler Lockett, but it's not a very deep receiving core. In fact, I think you could make the argument it's one of the 5 worst in the league.
Cam thinks it's one of the 5 best in the league.
Well, I mean, look, I admire the fact that he's putting a positive spin on it, but we've been around this a little longer than he has.
Yeah, look, it's better. You know, you bring back Calvin Ridley. Cam Ward has brought a lot out of Ridley. I mean, Ridley didn't do a whole lot last year, and I'm not blaming him, but he didn't have a quarterback. and he didn't have an offensive line that could give that quarterback time. The offensive line should be better. Your quarterback is better. But we know Cam Ward is better than Will Levis. I know we haven't seen him play a game yet, but I think it's safe to say that's true. Ridley's going to be better. Van Jefferson, we forget about. He's not chopped liver.
No, but I don't hear great things about how he's shown up so far.
But that's practice.
It is.
We'll see. I mean, we can't take a whole lot from practice. What I'm trying to say is they should be better. How much better, though? You can't forget about Chigakonkwo.
Are you saying the team is better as in better than a year ago?
The receiving core.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's any – if it is better, not by much.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, Ridley, I think what can Ward pull out of Ridley? I mean, so far, they had 3 straight completions that were pretty impressive against the Buccaneers. So,
to me, the loss of Tyjae Spears, and who knows how long that's going to go on with a high ankle sprain, but that's concerning because he brings some versatility out of the backfield for that team. The fact that we're still talking about Julius Chestnut, good God. I mean, this has been going on for 5 years now.
But what about Khalil Mullins?
Julius Chestnut is David Fluellen 10, 12 years
all over
ago.
Again.
That there are 3 things in life to expect. Death, taxes, and David Fluellen will lead the Titans in rushing in August. And now it's Julius Chestnut, and I'm like, he's still on this roster? Good God.
I thought Khalil Mullins looked good against the Buccaneers. I don't know why we're not talking about him enough. I know it's a preseason game, but he ran it hard. And Kelly talked about him. He was hitting the holes. I'm looking forward to watching what more Mullins gives them tonight.
So you give the Falcons the check mark, both passing and running. Bijan Robinson is a terrific running back out of Texas. So they've got a lot of offensive pieces. They've got way more than the Titans do. To me, the biggest kind of question mark about the about the Falcons, why is Pitts not at a level yet that we all thought he would be?
It's a good question. They haven't had great quarterback play. They haven't had the best offensive line either. But, yeah, I mean, he's the type of player that, I thought no matter who your quarterback is, no matter who your offensive line is, was going to be able to immediately make an impact. I mean, he was a top 5 overall pick. And but the thing is, he's almost positionless nowadays. He's not a normal inline blocking tight end, but he's also not quick enough to be a receiver. So he's your flex tight end. I don't know if he's had blocking issues or what, but he's a guy I thought we would see more of by now.
So defensively, neither one of these teams are any hot shakes. The Falcons, I give them the check mark, but as you can see, barely. Thank you very much. It's defensively, neither one of them have shown me enough. I'll be interested in the Falcons defensively because, Billy, if they get their act together, I don't know if they can win the division, but I think they can cause trouble.
I think they can. Last year, they were not a bad football team. Unfortunately for them, Cousins went down with an injury, and that was the worst thing at the worst possible time for them. Penix, still a question mark. But yeah, defensively, they weren't awful last year. They got better. That's a good point, though. We think we know offensively that the Falcons are going to be pretty good. They got, like you said, it's Bijan Robinson. We'll see what Penix gives them. And then, of course, Kyle Pitts. If they can get a little bit more defensively, this could be a team that not only gets in the playoffs, but could do some things.
The kicking game, I go dead even at this point. And I want to continue to watch that part of the Titans game. They might have been the worst in NFL history a year ago in all phases of special teams. It's what got, a firing.
Colt Anderson.
Yeah, Colt Anderson got canned because
by the way, is that the
dreadful.
Biggest upgrade ever? Colt Anderson to John Fossil.
Yeah, and I give Brian Callahan a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
So to the intangibles, We know that there's an excitement level about Cam Ward, and frankly, there is no other excitement right now in this city about the Titans. Michael Penix, there's a lot of excitement about him, but there's an established starter in the wing in Kirk Cousins. I'm going to be really interested over the next week to 10 days to see, for instance, do the Rams come calling about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
Does maybe Cleveland decide that none of their 5 are worth it, and they end up talking to Atlanta? Because to me, he's the best quarterback out there that is at the moment not a starter.
Cousins.
Yeah.
He's gotten older, though. Because last year, he showed some things, but he also, that was a side of Cousins we hadn't seen a whole lot of. Him really struggle, just making, basic reads and too many interceptions. I think he had a 3-interception game at one point last year, and then throw the injury on top of it. Cousins is a guy that, I would definitely look at if you're the Rams, but I don't know if league-wide, he's as attractive as maybe he was just a couple of years ago.
Well, all I'll say is this. For teams that are in distress, there's a Kirk Cousins out there, and he doesn't appear to have any real future in Atlanta. Now, the crazy thing about that is you're one injury away. The Titans are one Cam Ward injury away from complete disaster because their backup quarterbacks don't give you any reason for optimism. In Atlanta, a Michael Penix injury would force Kirk Cousins to the very top of the list.
Yeah.
So who knows? I'm going Falcons 24-12. And when we come back after the break to get to Plaster Bet of the Day, you'll find out a couple of things going on in Vegas that you might find pretty interesting. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women, because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
Final segment on a Friday, a football Friday. We've got NFL tonight, Titans and Falcons from Atlanta, 6 o'clock. Watch it on News 2. And we're broadcasting live, about to wrap things up from Pancoast Benefits out in Green Hills. It's been hot, but mostly in the shade, I'd say. It's been fun. It's had Brent on earlier, and obviously got you all the information out there that you needed. But before we close things out, we got to get to Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We took what happened last night. It was a loss with Seattle, right?
No.
I guess we haven't updated this yet then.
No. We had Cleveland last night.
No, my bad. I didn't update the Bet of the Day graphic.
How dare you? You can't cheat me out of a win.
I'll blame this on Ty.
Why not?
Because I'm looking at it now, and his latest update is a loss with Seattle.
That was a day game. I couldn't have bet a day game. Cleveland. Okay.
Whatever.
Anyway, got 3 plays for the weekend. You're not going to be happy with where I go on the first one. So you saw me bet earlier in the tail of the tape. I went Atlanta 24-12. First of all, I wouldn't make the Titans a favorite over anybody right now until they show me something to really hang my hat on. There's no way that I'm making them a favorite.
By the way, the line has gone down to 3.
Oh yeah, and that's the story. So it was 5.5 2 days ago, and I remember saying, "What does Vegas know that I don't know?" Well, apparently, a bunch of bettors rushed to take Atlanta, not only as a home dog, but a significant dog.
Yeah.
And so Vegas has reacted and dropped that down to 3. So what the heck? We'll take Atlanta plus the 3 against the Titans.
Good bet.
And that goes off in an hour at Mercedes-Benz. Here's the late game tonight. Seattle at home for the second week in a row. Kansas City has made the decision not to play Patrick Mahomes. And by the way, I don't know how many of you saw the 2-hour documentary last night on ESPN about the Chiefs. It was tremendous. Some great behind-the-scenes stuff. And to be honest, what was called, and what they call it, the Fool's Gold Club? Or
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And Bud Adams was prominently pictured in that. And what they're talking about is the group of AFL owners who bought in at $25,000 apiece and forced the NFL into a merger that nobody thought was going to happen. Seattle playing with a lot of enthusiasm at home in front of the 2 or 3 best NFL crowds, period. They even show up for preseason, unlike most of the cities. They'll make a lot of noise tonight. They will be the difference in the game, and Seattle will win by at least a field goal.
Good bet.
Yeah. And then Sunday night, dun, 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 dun. No, whatever. Buffalo travels to Chicago. I think Ben Johnson is going to be a really good football coach, but I'm not sure.
I'm not
that
a fan on Caleb Williams, though.
I'm not sure in September it's going to show up, Billy.
I'm with you. He's a good coach, but we haven't seen anything at the NFL level yet. You know, flashes maybe. But that was not a good season from Caleb Williams. He was flustered. No. He was under pressure. He got frustrated. And we know about all the off-field antics people like to joke about. But, you know, Caleb Williams, he's used to L.A. and USC and that type fan base. Now he's back in Chicago. You know, he struggles to begin this first half of this season. They're not going to take kindly to him.
No, but they don't really have any choice.
Yeah.
I mean, they have put all their eggs in that kid's basket.
Yep.
Ben Johnson brings a level of excitement that Matt Eberflus just simply could not get. Ben Johnson was a very successful.
If Ben Johnson can't get everything out of Caleb Williams, nobody can.
Well, and that's sort of the feeling in Chicago. So it's I think it's an NBC game. a Sunday night deal. Buffalo looked awful a week ago, losing to the Giants. I think they will bring a little more pep to their step than they did a week ago. Preseason football is a crapshoot, and if you're gonna play this garbage, what you have to figure out ahead of time is who's playing and who's not playing. The only reason I put Seattle on the board was because it got out last night that Patrick Mahomes will not play. That's a key piece of info. On the Sunday night game, I don't know. I just kind of feel like Buffalo, they looked really bad against the Giants. Got nothing done, looked very disinterested. I think they'll bring a little more oomph to the table than they did, and that's really the best thing I've got on it.
It's preseason. Tough to bet on. Tough to watch for most of the games, too.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about what we'll do on Monday, because we've got a really good show for you. We will do another one of our Titans analysis breakdowns with Kelly after tonight's game in Atlanta. We'll spend essentially a segment on how Cam Ward looked and then the good and the bad of what the team showed. Then at 4 o'clock, Coach Watson Brown will join us, because at that point, we'll be 5 days away from the start of the college football season. The Dublin game in Ireland is a really good one. Iowa State, Kansas State.
Armageddon.
Yeah. 2 teams toward the top of the Big 12 going at it early in the season. That ought to be really good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good game to start the Week 0 slate. We haven't had many good Week 0 games to kick it off. I mean, Georgia Tech, Nebraska, right? A couple of years ago when the Scott Frost era ended.
Actually, Georgia Tech, Florida State.
Georgia Tech, Florida State. Who did Nebraska play a few years back when Scott Frost melted down?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Forget. That's right.
Northwestern, wasn't it?
Northwestern, Nebraska.
Yeah, I think
you're
so.
right. But yeah, Georgia Tech, Florida State. That was the beginning of a disaster season for Florida
Mike
State.
Norvell.
There's been some somewhat intriguing matchups. This is a legit, meaningful game in the Big 12. It should be fun.
Well, when you're 0-1 and nobody else has played, that's a bad feeling.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to Brent Watkins and the folks at Pancoast Benefits. 40 years, and here's to 40 more. We're done. All of you have a good weekend. Drive safely. This is 94.9 The Fan.